All right, hello and welcome. I think I'm live. So we'll see if anyone joins us today. And let me get started with what we're doing here. So this show is really about developer experience. A few of the other shows, I've gone into a little bit more detail about what I mean by that. This will be a little bit more abbreviated now that I've got that done a few times and rehearsed. But basically, by way of introduction, my name is Jason, and I am in the area of developer experience, really trying to create products that a software developer finds that they can have success with. And so as a result, one of the things I've wanted to do is ramp up on some other tools. And so what you're really going to be witnessing is me experimenting and learning things about tools that I know nothing about. So a result of that is that I do want to call out that having a really good developer experience is hard work. So what you may see is me calling out some of the things that work well and some of the things that maybe do not. So if anyone joins and you have comments and things like that, this is a reminder to be kind. Just because something doesn't work doesn't mean someone didn't try. They may not be aware of it. There's only so much time in the day after all. So the spirit of this is if something isn't effective, I will probably call it out, but it is with intent of being growth oriented and saying, hey, this didn't quite work the way maybe it was intended. This might be something for us to be on the lookout for on anything else that we work on. Really, this is all about time to hello world. So again, you're kind of witnessing the first 30 minutes or so of me using a product. A lot of people use this idea of, you only have 3 seconds to really make an impression or 30 seconds to get your message across, seen as like 3:33. I think that's a really aggressive hello world. I think whether I was told to use a product or given a choice to evaluate a few things, I'm certainly going to not give up after 3 minutes. So you're going to see a little bit more than that here. And there are two main concepts I've introduced in some of the other shows, so I encourage you to go check them out in the beginning if you're interested. But basically, the idea is friction logging, trying to make note of where there are problems, complexities, things that are not easy to understand. And so that's why I'm actually streaming it, is to get a recording, get a little bit of interactivity here as I'm going through it. So instead of taking screenshots or copying error messages, I'm just getting a log of reproduction steps of what I observe. And this may be considered something like customer zero, right? Like, so if I'm building a product, I would want someone to evaluate it before that, really important customer tries it out. So staying on theme, I'm trying to do this whenever my schedule allows, around 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, where I'm based, just for a half hour or so, just to go learn something new. Streaming it out on Twitch and YouTube, so whichever platform you prefer, so be it. And I do have the beginnings of a website. It's actually a project I'm working on at developerxp.com, but you can see the schedule there. It's really just a text file and a list of the order I'm going. So today I'm looking at mutable AI, and then next week looking at Mintify and Contentful. And these that I'm choosing are, there is some meaning behind them. So in this case, mutable AI, I don't know anything about it, never tried to use it. My understanding is it falls in the category of AI code generation tools. So my objective here is to see if it helps me on some projects. So with that, let's go. So uh, by way of introduction, well, actually, let's go find out what we can about mutable AI. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Hopefully you can see what I'm looking for, but mutable AI, AI accelerated software development. So that is what I heard about. So I do like to start with a search, just because it does sometimes tell me quite a bit. First link right off the bat appears to be probably the one I want, which is good positioning. But it is interesting to see that, on Y Combinator, there's a little bit of an announcement. This might be interesting to go see what comments are out there. And not yet well, yeah, let's do that. Because I'll sometimes do this as well. Like, so I could go sign up for Mutable AI, and just start using it, and see how it goes. Sometimes, even before I get to that stage, I want to review third party opinions and comments and things like that. Um, so this appears to be, there's an introductory video I know come through music and things like that. There's a little bit of looks a little bit more promotional in a way, but introducing for code bases, develop software by using AI CodeGen to create features, enhance explanation and search, suggest improvements to your code, and switch from local to cloud development and back. Okay. And then VS Code and JetBrains extensions. So the reason I might go and look at, even though this is probably written by the company, but sometimes, third party sites, if someone was commenting on it and things like that, again, it may not be the kindest comments or even fair comments, but it might give me a sense of what the sentiment is and how much time I should invest in it. I also like to do these searches for reasons like this right here: AI tools for code analysis. I have used GitHub Copilot in a recent show just to get some experience with it. I have not done Tab 9 yet, but that is on the list. Likewise, I had tried Repo, it was Code Whisperer, but that was AWS's name. I think there's Ghost Whisperer maybe, and I've heard some others that are out there as well. So with that all said, I do have a project that I'm going to be trying to use this on. And if we get that far, I'll mention a little bit more about that. So Mutable AI. Okay. So build together with the AI, accelerated software development. Um, just taking a peek. Um, Interesting to see that they are referencing like universities here. We already saw that Y Combinator was on the list. Create high quality code, multi-file edit. Um, this could be interesting, and so this again, when evaluating a new product, I may or may not know anything about the space. It's almost this, if like evaluating three different tools, whoever the third one is does have a slight advantage, in that I might already be familiar with some of the others. So I'll be looking for something that might have been missing elsewhere, or I won't need as much introductory ramp up type of information. I think that's also the case that if you have a product that someone's switching, like if I use product A and I'm deciding to migrate my code base over to use product B, then there's already an advantage. I don't need a what is this, domain type knowledge. I already know the concepts. I just needed to know how to swap in a particular one library for another and what the signature of the calls are. And so this is a good example of that too. And that now that I've used a couple of these tools a little bit more, one of the things I was observing too was this notion that a lot of it was suggesting code and giving me hints on single files as opposed to here's your project as a whole and how you would structure things. Or in some cases, it would be like one method, but it would probably make more sense to have a variable outside of that method to cache some of the result or something like that to be more efficient. So I could see cases where some of this would be helpful, but I'm probably giving this, as opposed to some of the other commercial APIs, a little bit more of a look, just because it is very purely a developer tool. So I would expect less marketing content on the website itself. I don't know if that's a fair assessment or not. But it does look like product wise, it's just linking me directly to install, but autocomplete, chat, auto edit, auto search. Okay. Log in. Do I need to log in? Do I just install it? Presumably I do need an account, I would expect, but oh wait, understand and improve your favorite repositories. Um, Interesting. So I need to log into what? Okay. Well, now here is a question I have not encountered in any of these is I tend not to like single sign-on. It's just a me thing, I guess. I like the idea that when I log in to GitHub, I log into GitHub, and that even though it is just an open AP, open ID or anything like that, um, it's still I tend not to reuse them with others. So the fact that I can't create my own account here is unfortunate. Um, All right, so I'm gonna move this off screen for a second while looking at some of this other stuff, and maybe I'll go ahead and do that anyway. Um, uh, I'm getting logged in with this one account, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the authorization, and then I need to log in, and now I need to authenticate. All right. Um, I've got a few. Right. Well, I'll bring this back now, I guess. I don't think there's anything here to. So, the developerxp.com source code is there. That's not really the project I wanted to work on. I actually wanted to work on this thing I started using. Here, I'll maybe give the preamble of what the problem is. Why am I evaluating mutable AI? What is it I'm trying to do? So, this is the problem I was given to try to help out with an elementary school science Olympiad team. One of the events requires students to find 3 to 9 science words in a 4x4 grid. So one of the things that's maybe different than a traditional word search is this could be things that like bend and go in a circle and different directions. So it's not just across, up and down, diagonal. As you can see, CARS or PLANE, goes up to the right, up or right diagonal, lower right diagonal. Bike is going B and then to the right and then up 2 letters. Um, so that's what makes it maybe a little bit different. There's probably some code generators out there already that do word search generation type things. But my goal was, hey, maybe this is a problem and it's a little bit of a larger scope of a problem to use some tools like Mutable to solve for me. And and one of the reasons I think it's kind of it's kind of like the interviewing process too of, oh, here is just some algorithm, implement bubble search on a whiteboard. So there are a lot of AI tools and people demonstrating how to use Copilot or Mutable or whatever by solving factorial functions and things like that. And so I like this project just because it felt a little bit more maybe real world. It's an overall web application with a little bit of complexity, maybe not so super straightforward, not something that I already know the answer to, which means any of those sort of hallucinations and things like that could throw me for a loop just because I haven't solved this type of problem before. And partly that's because I've read articles that talk about, people with very little software engineering background who are presumably creating prototypes in hours. Um, I don't know how much of an exaggeration that is, so that's why I'm experimenting a little bit and seeing how far I can get. So I have gone ahead and logged in here, but of course the project I'm working on here is actually a different repository. It's not associated with my account here. Um, and it looked like there was actually an error message there. So this is, um, maybe I can just search by name. It does not seem to allow me to do that. So, oh wait, or is it loading repository? Do I have to upgrade to Pro to actually do anything like this? I did not look at pricing. I should have. This is another thing that's really important. Yeah. So again, this is a little bit more of an educational project. I'm not trying to build a business off of Science Olympiad. So manual suggestions, 500 chat and search queries, 50 multi-file edits, VS Code, and so on. And that seems reasonable to me. I need to figure out, is it worth $25 a month until I evaluate it? And if it makes me, 25 times more productive, then yeah, sure, it's absolutely worth it. But what I don't understand yet, oh, okay. So waitlist VS Code. So this might be a quick show. We cannot find your repositories. I need to install an app, but I already did that. This is problematic. All right. Someone's watching. If you know and have used this tool before, maybe we can get a little bit further. Okay, let's check the blog. So this is another. Is there a community here? 2,000 subscribers. Oh wait, so I have to subscribe to the blog. Oh, okay, there we go. Now I got it. So the question here is, when was the last time the blog was updated, or when was the last time source code or whatever? So it's another way of evaluating a tool, is whether or not there's actually a community. So this is July 12th. I assume this year. I don't know. Was it from this past July, or was this July from a couple years ago? I tried a tool the other day. It's in my most recent live stream where I quickly discovered the tool hasn't worked in a couple of years. A lot of the discussion about it was, from 2 years ago. Yet it shows up today because of all the AI hype, that, this is an important tool or whatever. So, yeah, so this is July 2023. But again, but how do I use it? Yeah. So I might, so in that time to hello world, it doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to get to a hello world if I can't log in. I guess maybe I can try another tack. There was the VS Code extension. I can go search for it. Let's this goes back to that 3 minutes. Am I going to give up after 3 minutes? Well, this might not be, the greatest first impression. That doesn't mean that, the work hasn't been put into where it matters, which is a good product. Otherwise, even if the developer experience is a little rough, it might still be worth checking out. So, what was I? Oh, VS Code. So let's go ahead. Let's see if it's in the extensions. If I can find it. It looks like there's other. So I got to do. But what is it? Mutable AI. So here we are. It's got 25,000 downloads, a bunch of stars. So let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. I don't know how this might interfere with some of the others I have installed, but let's go. So it did. Now that said, here it is. Okay. When you click Get Started, we will index this workspace, which allows us to provide code intelligence features. Okay. Okay, so I got to log in. Did that work? All right, I'm going to paste it in here. Don't steal it. Be nice. Okay, cool. So I'm logged in. And I'm going to go over here. So this is the project I'm looking at. Um, and, this is probably, maybe I should start over rather than having some of the stuff that's already in here. So I had initialized a Svelte app already and Svelte kit, started getting it to run. But let's just see, let's get rid of Copilot for now. Let's go over to mutable chat and then say, how do I start up the Solly word search app? How do I start up a dev version? I presume, if I recall, it's just npm run build, probably. Let's see, follow the instructions in the README. Check the README, start to backend by following its README, and a new terminal start to front end by following its README. Visit localhost. That's incorrect. There is no separate startup for front end or back end because it is Svelte kit. So it is one and the same. So we'll go ahead and do that. So, okay, so I've got my grid. This is where I had things before, loosely styled with Tailwind. Trying to use an AI tool to generate the algorithm for me to actually place the letters. I do find it really challenging to craft the right prompt for what I'm trying to do without solving the entire thing myself in order to break it down into smaller steps. But let's keep going. So this did not necessarily, this was not accurate. But that's okay. That's a little bit of a leap for any tool to make. And if I come here, I may not have even in the README, the README, for better or worse, describes the project, not what it's supposed to do. And I do this sometimes. I don't know. I probably break convention by doing it, but when I initialize my Svelte app, it comes in with a template which has all the stuff. I move it over to Runbook, saying like, this is how I'm going to run the app. I'll leave the README as the thing is describing what it is, and then the Runbook being the instructions for someone to actually get it up and running and deploy it or whatever. So, so in my case, I've maybe followed an incorrect, or just a different convention. There's no reason the README couldn't have both of those things. But in either case, the assistant did not know why I did what I did. But this was, the information I was needing. Okay. So it is tough with it being over in a separate tab. But because it does, so that's just a UX thing. And I have not built a VS Code extension, so I don't know how easy or difficult this is about what I'm about to say. But like the fact that the GitHub Copilot chat is within the same file explorer is super handy. Whereas the extension like this that requires me to go and separate those two things is a bit more difficult. And can I do that? Okay. So, it is customizable, but out of the box, GitHub Copilot did that. I didn't move it, whereas I had to move mutable here. And quite honestly, I didn't know I could do that until just now. So there you go. Sometimes you just try things and hope for the best. So let's see what else is going on here. So I don't know what this attachment means or this paperclip. Is that the context? Um, so that now it knows. So like if I, because this workspace has multiple projects, what if I didn't want to ask about this one? Then I would have to go somewhere else. But it's okay because that's what I want to do anyway. Um, does Mutable do inline stuff? I thought it did give me hints. So let's go and try to find this route again. So this is a page and a bunch of stuff I was using as examples. So let's go ahead and get rid of this for a moment. I forget how close I got in getting Copilot to generate a thing. I should probably move these completely out of this area, but oops. Yeah, there were 4 different attempts at getting things working. Yeah, so let's move that, and that'll break my page, which is fine. And then we'll just create a new one. Yeah, and this is an example. Once you have Copilot installed, I guess I could go and disable it temporarily. Maybe that'll allow Mutable to do its thing, and that would be a little bit more helpful, perhaps. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And I got to reload things, but I just want to disable for a moment. Okay. Did I do it? Okay, so who was suggesting style? Was that just, is that still, is Copilot still running? Yeah, it seems like it might be. Hmm. I don't want to completely remove it either. I just wanted to see whether I could get good results with this alternative. Hmm. So I guess my question is, back to this, how does it work? So, I mean, there's code-based chat and semantic search, test generation, multi-file edit. I don't know if it does the prompts. Maybe that's just the other thing it does. Let's look at this description over here. Autocomplete. Okay, do I have to, if I go into extensions, can I turn that on? I could create a new workspace and just, oops. Wait, what? So autocomplete is enabled. Okay, so to avoid autocomplete is disabled if Copilot auto completions is enabled. So I will have to disable Copilot. Where's autocomplete? There it is. Oh, wait. That's mutable. I want that, but Copilot chat. Mm-hmm. Is there not just a checkbox? Enable. Oh, there it is. Maybe that's enough. So if I come in over here, well, that's still Copilot. Auto edit this file. I don't know what that means. Describe what you want to change. Let's go ahead and say it. Write a function that, what was I trying to do? Generates a 4x4 letter grid where the array of given words is hidden and random characters generated to fill the remaining cells in the grid. Right, so that's why I say it's like it is very tricky to try to describe this, but it's doing something. It's interesting that it's putting it in like a markdown code block here. It's definitely generating a bunch of stuff though. All right, so I guess it's maybe done. Interesting. So it found probably from one of the other files the layout. But I'm going to do the silly thing and just say, okay, let's wait. I don't. Oh, it didn't actually put it in my file, but it generated what it would think I want. So let's go ahead and copy and paste that over just for. Let's see. Create an empty grid. I'm a little concerned of what I got going on here. Isn't what I want it to be. Is it still running? Error. Okay, there we go. Let's use this. This is another thing. So explain this error. Let's see if I can ask. Explain how to fix this error. Okay, whoops. It's a lot of information. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, based on the error message and file paths provided, the error is occurring inside the insert word into grid function. Yes, the error cannot read properties of null, indicates that something is undefined when trying to access the zero property. well, that's okay. That seems like a weird way to describe it, but okay. Looking at the insert word into grid function is trying to access the grid parameters, like pick random starting cell, returns null if there are no empty cells in the grid. Um, okay, to fix this error, we need to add a check to make sure the grid is not undefined before accessing properties. So, yeah, let's go ahead and insert that. Let's see what happens if we save that. Okay, well, I suppose that's better. It caught the error. It didn't actually fix it. Hmm. Well, I think the other thing I'm seeing, and I'm surprised in some ways, is that I feel like this solution was not a was not really necessarily even the right path. But this looks like, I think, where I left things with Copilot. So let me see if I actually see that to be true. So if I go and look at this last, right, create empty grid, pick random starting cell, so on, right? So this was me trying to coach Copilot through a solution. So I wonder if that has interfered with how Mutable was trying to solve it, because it literally just seems to have copied this code from another file, a different route, and just put it here, even though it was broken in the original place. Um, I think it's also interesting that this attempted a solution seems to have inserted it after outside of the script area for letter in, right? So where's, or did it just, you know, like this feels weird here. Insert word into grid. Did it move the, no, this function is defined up here. And then it tried to do the if not grid, but it moved it down here. It's not where it belongs. Right, like it was trying to replace this, right? I mean, it's still an error, so it doesn't really, no empty cells found, right? So I mean, I guess instead of the crypto, and so maybe that leads me, but I think the issue is that in this case, it's not finding any empty cells. So it might not be, this might not be the right error. It might just be that there's no solution. Um, that said, I know that suggests that there's a bug because there is a solution. Like these are the same ones as the example. So this right here is the solution, CGNYL, you know. And I think in one of the other files, I was trying to prompt by saying like, hey, given this input, write a function that generates this output and then massage it to do the general thing, was really what I was thinking. Almost more like a test-driven development style AI assistant. But yeah. So I think we're, let's see how far in we are, 30 minutes in, right? Yeah. So I think I might call it unmutable right now. And so maybe this is supporting that notion of 333 in the sense that, well, I did maybe sort of get to hello world, but when I tried to log in over here, I was getting a 404. When I tried to review a particular repository, I got a different error. Um, when I asked it to give me the startup instructions for my server, it didn't give me the answer. And then when it tried to help me debug an issue, it actually wrote the function in a random place in my file. So I think there's still, some, issues that might be caused again by the interactions between Copilot and Mutable. But, and unfortunately that it gives me an impression of like, well, maybe I need to keep searching. And excuse me, apologies. Um, for other tools, so I guess that might be the point is that, okay, so there are some other tools I can still try. This one does not seem to be getting me closer to what I'm trying to accomplish. And a few of the other things going wrong, they're small things and hopefully they'll fix them. And like I said, they might be putting a lot more of the effort where it belongs, which is in some of the code generation tools. But right now it's not helping me with the problem I'm trying to solve right now. So I think that ends my evaluation here and I will move on to the next tool for now. And then might come back and try it again another time. Or in a different use case that maybe it's better suited for. So, all right. Well, that's it. That was mutable AI. My first experience trying to use it. Like I said, ran into some problems. There might be some confounds in my workspace, but did not seem to be moving me in the right direction. So, anyways, I will keep looking. And hopefully this is interesting. I mean, like I said, I feel like this type of problem is a little more complex than your whiteboard bubble sorts or factorial type use cases. While I see a lot of benefit in some of the AI tools and some of the other areas, if I'm making a much bigger leap on a more complex project, I'm trying to find the tool that'll really help me the most. So enjoy the rest of your day. And have a great weekend. Next week, going to be looking actually at doing some documentation generation. So I may have an open API spec or something like that to start with, or maybe I'll have some JS doc. And then there's a tool I heard about. I don't know if it'll work or not. So we'll go find out. All right. Thanks. Bye.